Good day, students. Welcome to the module DPR3704, which is production data. In this particular module, you are going to create content, digital content for a non-profit organization, which you have to approach. You cannot use your own organization. It must exist. It must not be a fictitious assignment. You must not just create a blog from your mind and say, this is my NPO. You have to go out and look for an NPO that you can work with in order to create the digital content that is required in this particular module as form of assessment. It is important that you understand that you are not going to be engaged in a theoretical module, but you are going to create content. So the focus of this class is assignment one. We need to understand what is required so that we can do well in this particular assessment. Now, starting off, it's important that you use free blog sites. You can Google for some of them. Some of them have been put up under announcements that are recommended. I would like to advise you to avoid simple sites because it tends to have issues around early expiry. So in the most favorable purpose is to try as much as possible to have a blog that can actually stand up to the end of June, that is up to the end of assessing the summative assessment, which is the examination portfolio. So I would say kindly avoid simple sites. It has proven to be problematic in the past. Okay, important, you do not pay for a blog. All the blogs that you use must be free. So I'm hoping that we do not engage on this particular issue going into the module, that we focus on other key areas of the module and avoid technicalities such as you actually signing up for a blog that requires you to pay. There are a number of blogs that do not require you to pay. I know Wixsite does not require you to pay. WordPress does not require you to pay. And there are a number of them. That is why I say you can go to Google and Google for free blog sites to create for a non-profit organization. What is important again, embedded with your assignment one on my UNISA is the letter that you must give to the contact person of the organization that you approach. They must sign it. You must also sign. We need this letter to prove that you did approach an existing organization. This letter must be attached to your assignment one. It must be embedded on your assignment one. When you submit your assignment one, you need to see it. If you don't see it, it's a zero. You also need to see it for the examination portfolio. This is the only evidence that you have in order to prove that you did go to an organization, that your experience was authentic within that particular organization. What is important is that you must get experiential training. You must have access to the organization and understand its dynamics as a future public relations practitioner. So keep in mind, the letter must be signed by yourself and the contact person. You can print it out, have the contact person sign it. If they can sign virtually, that's brilliant. And you can also sign virtually. That's fine also, but you can print it out, sign it, and then scan it and then attach it to your assignment. Remember, for assignment one, you only submit the blog link. You don't need anything except the blog link. Everything that you mark in terms of content should be on the blog. There's nothing outside of the blog. It's only assignment two where there are certain sections that you can write on a PDF or a Word document and then submit. But for assignment one and examination portfolio, we require only the blog link. It's part of the assessment. Everything that you mark must be embedded on the blog. It must be deposited on the blog. So there's no letter for your assignment one, then you get a zero. The letter must accompany your first assignment and examination portfolio. The letter is available, as I mentioned before, for download on my UNISA. It's attached next to your assessment one on my UNISA. Now, starting off with what is required under assessment one, you need to, in contact with your contact person at the NPO, ask that particular individual to supply you with the vision, which is for 5 marks, and the mission of the organization, which is also for 5 marks. This either they have it, if they don't have it, you try as much as possible to engage them so that you formulate this for the assessment. You formulate new ones for the organization in collaboration with your contact person. And then what is important is that in terms of the content details, you must give everything that is there most importantly, for maximum marks is the physical address, because we need to be able to locate that particular organization in order to prove its existence as an organization. So yes, the physical address is crucial. It must be there. It must exist. There must be a telephone number, an email, preferably the one of your contact person, if we want to authenticate your experience with them. And then create, the fourth element is for you to start creating the social media account or social media handles for social media links for your NPO. This site must be new. It means you can just create from your own personal Facebook account. You can create a page for the NPO for the purpose of this assessment. It doesn't mean you must start off a Facebook account for your NPO. No, no, but you can share or create a page for this particular NPO from your own Facebook account. So you need to create pages you need to create social media links that must be on your blog. When we click on the social media handle, it must take us to Facebook. When we click on the X or formerly Twitter handle, it must take us to Twitter. When we click on the Instagram handle, it must take us to Instagram. And then also when we click on YouTube, it must direct us to YouTube. For the purpose of assignment one, these sites do not need to be populated as yet, but the links must work. So you'll get the marks on the basis that when I click, it takes me to the site. Even if the site is empty, there are no marks allocated for content at this stage. We only start allocating marks for content from assignment 2 up to the examination portfolio. So keep in mind, you must create this in order to be able to get those 8 marks: 2 marks for Facebook, 2 marks for X, 2 marks for Instagram, and 2 marks for the YouTube handle. Now, the fifth task in that particular assessment is for you to upload 4 successful stories of your NPO. You are not compelled to use pictures. Why are we saying this? Because we have to be aware of the POPI Act. So you can use pictures of items, you can show sites, you can show items, it's fine. But if you're going to use people, you need to get their permission. You need to be respective and be law abiding in terms of the POPI Act. So pictures of human beings that are used, you must get consent from them to use their pictures. And then you need to adhere to this in all your assessments. Obtain permission first. I know it boils down to the interviews that you do for the examination portfolio. You must get with the donors and the sponsors. You must get permission on that. You can start working on getting permission from now, so that when you come to that particular assessment, you are done in terms of obtaining permission from the respondents or the interviewees. So ensure that you start working on the permission now, that when you get to the assessment, you don't struggle to find people who are willing to appear on camera for you. But there are ways to go around that. We've provided many contingencies in the past whereby we would say, even if it's just an audio recording of the trip, but you must post it or deposit it on YouTube. It can be just an audio recording of the interview. You don't have to show faces. So it could be a voice recording. It's fine, but we'll speak about that compromise later on when we engage the work or the guidelines for the examination portfolio. But just keep in mind that as it is production theater, there are many contingencies that we also expect you to use. But of course, you must consult before you try and maneuver in some instances, so that we say, is it appropriate to do such, so that we do not penalize you. But from time to time, we tend to understand what students are raising and understand how students want to amend certain things. Anyway, it's learning, it's a module, it's a work in progress, and all of us are learning from each other. But the most important thing, core, is to create a blog and to create a blog for a non-profit organization. Now, dealing with students, dealing with assessment one, because that's where the high failure rate is. Once you pass assessment one, it will be easy to pass the module, because for the examination portfolio, you add more content to the blog that you have created already in assessment one. Meaning assessment one tends to be difficult because that's where you are going through the teething issues of actually creating a blog and understanding how it works, how simple, how Wix works, well, avoid simple site as much as you can again, how Wix work, how WordPress works. But once you get assignment one correct, that you get 100%, you do very well. Chances are you'll pass the examination portfolio, because you'll be uploading more content to the blog and you're not changing anything. So you are adding more content, embedding more content to the social media sites, and nothing more. So important. I am prioritizing in the interest of ensuring that students are comfortable and with regard to submitting assessment one. Students are welcome to submit draft to me, Dr. Silikan. You can use my email. You see my email in the last slide. You can send the drafts to me. And then if the priority is also given to students who are repeating the module, they know they've been instructed to submit drafts for all the assessments. So any student who's registered for this module is welcome to submit drafts to me so that we ensure your success. Because I know in most cases you are having doubts and you want to see whether the content that you created will grant you the marks that you need in order to be successful in for assignment one and of course for this particular module. So ensure that you understand that you can submit draft. You are more than welcome. So you just have to factor in your deadlines, your time. Make sure that you use your time wisely. Understand that you cannot submit a draft to me on the day of submission, on the day when the assignment is due. You must submit a draft to me at least in advance before the actual deadline so that I can be able to tell you whether it's correct and I can tell you where to rework if needs be. So keep in mind that draft actually have to come in good time so that we are able to get that constructive feedback from you and do those amendments. Keep in mind, drafts come before the deadline. Moving over on. Now, certain students will tell you that they are struggling to get NPOs to understand what they are doing, and some NPOs are a bit skeptical. In this regard, I do provide a letter to students who need to approach an NPO that might need proof that this is part of an assessment at UNISA. My email address is there. You only send the request to me. Don't send them to Mr. Mudiba. Please send them only to me. And then the subject of your email will be NPO letter. The body will only have your full names and the student number, nothing more. I will draft the letter and resend to you and send to you. So ensure that you submit, you send the email to me, only to Dr. Silikani. You put up the subject NPO letter. In terms of the body, you put the full names and the student number only. And if there are any issues, my email address is up on my UNISA. It's also here. You can send those queries, and because those queries they inform us with regard to what we should speak to in the upcoming classes. Thank you very much. Good luck. Remember, you can submit drafts so that we ensure that you are successful in this particular module. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.